You can't buy property in Africa unless you do these three things. Cue the intro. All right, family, welcome back to the channel. I'm Asad, and this is
Adrian.
And we recently purchased our second investment property in Johannesburg, South Africa. And there have been a lot of questions from family, friends, and followers on the process. And as promised, we are going to give you the process to purchase property in Africa. But you cannot even begin to think about purchasing property in Africa until you do these three things. So we have three tips that must be done before you even think about transferring money, wiring money, or making an official offer on a property. So let's get straight to it. Let's get straight to it.
I know the people want to know.
Right.
All right. So step one, you got to start off with research.
That's it.
You got to start off with research. There's no other way to do it. Look, there's 54 countries in Africa, meaning that there's a lot of variation and a lot of opportunity. And you need to ask yourself some key questions. Who are you? What do you want in this move? Or if you're not moving and you just want to buy investment properties, there's a lot of questions pertaining to that too. So we got started with some key things. We started first with attending the African Business Academy.
In New York.
In New York City. That was back in 2019, huh?
I think it was February 2019. Yep.
Yeah. So look up Africa Business Academy. It's led by a woman named Dr. Harnott. And we learned so much just about the business opportunities. She went over all 54 markets. She bucketed 54 markets based on research. And she looked at a ratio of risk and opportunity. And we were able to kind of just get a big, large lay of the land.
Right.
But what was more important was who we met.
Right.
On the ground.
What was more important was who was in the business conference.
Yeah.
And it was regular black people from the U.S. who had already started businesses in Africa, who were building homes. I met a Omega Sci-Fi brother who was building a house in Ghana.
Yep, he was going to retire.
He was going to retire, right. And then there was another brother from the U.S. who went to Rwanda, found a coffee source, and now he was importing coffee to his own coffee shop. Yep. And also selling bags of coffee. So sister.
That's right. She was last name Muhammad. Can't think of her first name.
She was a member of the Nation of Islam.
And she was buying her second property. I believe she had already bought one in Ghana, was on her way to buying a second property. And I think my question for her was like, how did you do it? Where'd you get the money from? That's such a forward question, right?
That's what we want to know. That's what you want to know.
Where you get the money?
Where you get the money from? Black people in America are struggling.
Right. She was like, you'd be surprised. You can get financed in a lot of ways. You can get finance on the ground, or you can get finance here in the U.S. But I think what that did for us is it opened up our minds. Like,
the possibilities.
Wow, if they can do it, we can do it.
That is probably the most important thing that that leads to success in anything in life. If you see someone else do it, and if it was a thought in your mind, obviously it was a thought in our mind because we went to this African Business Summit. But going there and seeing people already doing it, and they are not, not disparaging them at all, but there's nothing super special about these people. Yeah. They just had the idea, the motivation, and they put it into practice.
Right.
And once we saw that, we were like, oh, okay, yeah.
And I feel like we saw people with all kind of different income levels.
Right.
You remember there was one couple that were making the dolls or whatever. They had saved up so long to get to that academy. Yeah. And were wondering how they could sell their homemade dolls there and get there with their family. But yeah, it was really inspirational.
So seeing someone doing what you're trying to do gives you a certain level of motivation. And we hope we're giving you that motivation, right? That we're just regular people. Nothing special about us, but we had an idea. We put some thought into it. And the most important thing that we did was we researched. Cannot stress that enough. You have to research. And so what else comes along with this research? Let me jump
Right.
into it. I'll take it.
Jump in, jump.
All right. So if you have never been to the continent, the first thing you need to do is decide where you want to go. And granted, no one has money just to say, okay, I'm going to go to Ghana today. I'm going to go to Eritrea tomorrow. I'm going to go to Egypt. I'm going to go to Rwanda. I'm going to go to South Africa. No.
Yeah.
So what you can do in the era of the World Wide Web
Mm-hmm.
and YouTube,
It's your friend.
you could take you a map, open you a map of Africa, and pick you a couple of places, right? Then go to Google. Go to Google and Google those places. Look for the, this is a tip for you. Look for the capital city, because that's kind of where you want to start off. Most people don't want to move to rural Africa, you know. Maybe some people. I don't. I don't. I'm moving to cities. So look for the capital city, but in the capital cities, we're going to be doing business regardless, right? So you look for the major cities. You pick five African countries, and you look for the major cities in those countries. Then go to YouTube and look for vlogs and travel information about that city or those cities that you have picked, and see which one may interest you. You're like, oh, this looks nice, or oh, this seems like a place that I would like to visit, right? So there are several big time YouTubers, right? YouTube personalities who are on the continent. Some who are from the United States, who are African Americans from the United States, like The Real South Africa. Then there are people like Wodemaya, and then there's the
Bag family.
The Bag family.
Black Acres of the Gambia.
They keep it 100.
Very
Trust me.
entertaining.
The Bag family. And what I'll do is I'll put the links in the description. And what's the so they keep it 100, and they show you the ups and the downs, because a lot of times people say I'm going to move to the continent and they think it's peachy and cream. No, there's some ups and some downs. There's some transitions, and there's some growing pains that take place. However, they are there doing it. And these are Black Americans born and raised in America, in the United States, have the same experiences that we have. They know the racism and the white supremacy in the United States,
right?
And they chose to repatriate. They chose to relocate.
And what's even better is they are willing to show you around.
Right.
If you reach out to them and make a connection, when you travel there, they're happy to meet up with Black Americans and help kind of show them around. So that's the beauty of it.
That's the beauty of it.
Creating a community on that continent.
And now wodemaya is from Ghana.
Yeah.
But he does a lot of videos on African Americans who have moved to Ghana, started clinics, started businesses, restaurants, and hotels and stuff like that. So it's very important to watch these, and again, it gives you that motivation, like we talked about when we went to the business conference. It gives you that motivation to see someone else that's doing what you're trying to do. Right. All right. So now, once you have watched these vlogs, what do you do next? You decide where you want to go.
You got to go.
You have to go. There's no sitting here buying the property without ever visiting.
No, you have to put eyes on.
Yeah, you
have to eyes, ears, everything.
Everything.
Nose.
I would never advise you buying property in a place that you have never visited. You need to get on the ground. Right. If it's Ghana, you need to book the trip to Ghana. If it's Tanzania, you need to book the trip to Tanzania. If it's South Africa or Rwanda, you have to go. You have to get boots on the ground. Why? Why is that important? Right. Miss Adrian, I feel like I'm teaching, like I'm teaching my students.
You're a good teacher.
So why is that important? It is important because every city has a different feel.
Every city.
Every city.
Let's give them our experience.
Right.
South Africa.
South Africa. So you give it. I've been talking a lot.
I'm just saying, when we went to South Africa, we did Cape Town and Johannesburg.
Right.
And Cape Town is beautiful. It's a beautiful city. I think anyone who's seen pictures of it, you're like, I can't wait to get there. It is gorgeous. But the feel of Cape Town, it's a little slower. It definitely feels like a tourist city.
Right.
Kind of the slower pace, relaxed pace, which is not your pace.
Not at all.
At all. But on the flip, when we went to Johannesburg, you lit up like a Christmas tree.
As soon as I touched down, I said, oh, it's on now.
You said it felt like Houston?
It's on now. I say this on. Nah.
Different feel.
It's a different feel.
Different feel.
It's New York in California. If you've been to New York, you know that New York City feels vastly different than Houston, Texas. And
San
Houston
Diego.
feels Texas from different than LA, right?
Yeah.
So you have to get there to know the feel of the city.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a place that you want to reside in?
Yeah.
And if you're into the countryside, which I'm not, if you're into the countryside and rural living, I don't know anything about it because I didn't go. Every time I visited Africa, I've been in a city. I don't know anything.
I've been in the countryside. What do you do when you visit? What should you do? If you're going and you're like, oh, I'm thinking of investing in this place.
Mm. Well, I should go to the club. I should go out to eat. I should go see all the touristy stuff. That's not what you do. That's not what you do. That's not what you do.
Well, how you gonna know what you need to know to buy property?
No. This a business trip.
Business trip.
It's not for leisure. You could do some leisure activities.
One or two.
Right. But when you go, you need to be linking up with real estate agents. You're going there on a mission. You're going there to find out information. You're doing research. You're linking with people who have access to the information that you need. And most likely it's going to be real estate agents, as well as you just ask around, look around, start asking questions.
Looking for the plug.
This is the age of information.
Mm-hmm.
You're Googling, you're on the internet researching prior to even getting on ground. And when you're on ground, you're still researching. You need to start learning about areas, about neighborhoods, about sections of the city or sections of the country that you're interested in investing in. It's
How
not
easy is it for you to bank in this country?
Wait,
Can you buy?
can you buy? That's the question. Can you buy? There are some African countries where non-citizens cannot buy land, cannot own land. They can lease land for 99 years, and sometimes they have to lease land with a citizen. So that citizen may own 51% and you may own 49%. You have to be willing to deal with that, and you need to know that before you decide, well, hey, I want to buy in this place. Can you even buy? So some places we know you can buy. Accra, Ghana. You can buy in Ghana. You can buy in South Africa. You can buy in Rwanda. But some of these other places you need to check out. You need to make sure that non-citizens are able to purchase and own land in that country.
Next thing you want to look at is what type of property are you looking for? Are you wanting to live in this property? Is this going to be your home? Or is it an investment property?
Right.
You know, are you trying to make money off of this property?
Right.
Is it going to be commercial or long-term rental or short-term rental?
Right.
And we know for short-term rental, because that's the world we've been in a little bit, right?
Right,
Well,
right.
I guess we've been in both.
Right.
But we know with short-term rental, you need a certain market for that
Right.
to do well.
You need a tourist market.
You need a tourist market.
Right.
They need to have high foot traffic and a whole
Right.
lot of use for short-term rentals.
So places like Accra is a real touristy place. Places like Cape Town, real touristy place.
Right.
Right. The Gambia, not so much. Not so much at all.
They got tourism.
They got
They
something.
said they got the more women coming in, picking up the youngsters.
Oh yeah. They got the European women coming to get that chocolate. So what kind of property you are looking to buy is very important. It will dictate your research and it will dictate where you need to go.
Right.
And you shouldn't rush this. This is something that you really need to take your time and look to see what is the best place and the best option for you and your finances. And that brings us to the last point. Point number 3. Point number 3, all 3 of y'all. Point number 3 is start thinking about how you're going to finance this project. Finance this home. Finance this investment property. If you have the cash, you're in a good place. If you don't have the cash, then you need to start thinking about how are you going to pay for this purchase. Now you need to start thinking about where you're going to come up with this money and what places are most affordable. For instance, the Gambia, you can buy land near the beach for about $2,000, like an acre, right?
Yeah.
But
somewhere near the beach.
Somewhere near the beach for about an acre of land for $2,000, right? And you can take time over the next 5-6 years and go and start to build your home. You know, you can get the foundation laid, and then the next time you visit, you can get the structure built. Next time you visit, you can get your plumbing done, and maybe over 5 or 6 years, you can pay to have your house constructed from ground up the way you want it right there in Gambia. It may cost you little of nothing, right?
Comparatively speaking.
Comparatively speaking. Now, maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you want a home in a nice luxury estate on the golf course, and with a lake,
the boat launch,
and a clubhouse with a bride and a restaurant, and you want gardens and private, all that good stuff. Yeah, you need to think about how you're going to afford that, because you can get that. You can get that. You can live in the lap of luxury. You just need to realize, how are you going to afford it?
How are you going to get that money?
That's the main question. You need to research whether you can get loans in that country. For instance, in South Africa, you can get a loan. Now, we didn't go through the loan process, so I don't want to mention it. I
know you have to have 50% down.
You have to have 50% down, and your credit score here doesn't count there. So if you got bad credit, you might be able. If you got bad credit here, you might be able to get there, but you're going to need that cash down. You know. Right. However, in order to establish a credit there, from our understanding, you would have to, number one, have half down on the home purchase, as well as they need to see that you have a certain amount of income minus your expenses. So you need to show, how much profit you have every month in order to afford X, Y, and Z in terms of a loan. But in South Africa, you can get what they call a bond. And that's the same thing that we call a mortgage.
And the rates are higher.
The interest rates are higher for foreigners, right? In other places, there are loans and there are ways of financing, but in other countries, financing is not available. So you have to come with the cash. You have to be able to purchase that property flat out. So it all goes back to research. You have to research the place that you are interested in purchasing this property and the options available to you. Right? Research.
Question, network, reach out.
So like I said, this is a 3-part series. On the next part, we will discuss our specific experience purchasing our first and second investment properties in South Africa. We'll get into the numbers. We'll get into the properties. We'll get into how we found the properties, the process that it takes. We'll get into how you have to transfer money. So we'll get into the nuts and bolts of our experience, which is in South Africa. And keep in mind, it's totally different in different African countries. So we can only tell you about that particular experience. But if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please leave them in the comment section in the bottom. I will respond, or Adrian will respond to any comment, question, or concern. And if you don't want to leave a public comment, my email address will be in the description. You can email me. I'll give you whatever information I have. I'll assist you in any way that I can. If I can point you in the right direction, I will point you in the right direction. If I can reach out to someone who may know the information better than I do, I will reach out to them on your behalf. Look, we're in this thing together. There are many people who are interested right now in repatriating to the African continent for various reasons. And so we're all in this fight together. We're all in this journey together. There are many groups on Facebook that you can join. Whatever we can do to assist, please leave it in the comment section. Leave a like, subscribe, comment.
Holler at us.
Get at me. You heard me?